Welcome to the first training for ServiceNow Project and Portfolio Management. Today's training will focus on the project form. The current version of ServiceNow employs User Interface 14. Supported browsers for this UI include Firefox version 26 and up, Chrome version 33 and up, Safari version 6.1 and up, as well as Internet Explorer version 9 and up. It's worth noting, however, that compatibility mode is not supported on older versions of Internet Explorer. The ServiceNow screen has several different areas. Each of the areas has different functionality. Let's start with the banner frame. The banner frame shows the name of the current individual who is signed into ServiceNow. It allows you to search multiple modules based off a text search. In addition, you have the logout button and some settings which will allow you to select a font size, a larger font size, manipulate the split in the screen, and I can show you that as well here. You can have content in this side based off clicking on a link, and that allows you just a different view in the tool. Okay. Also, importantly, it allows you to enable accessibility features. These features are in line with Section 508 Federal Standards of Accessibility. So clicking that box allows you to employ those. Additionally, you can select a different theme here if you'd like. The next section of the screen is the Application Navigator. And by the way, these are all visible by default. I'm simply minimizing them and bringing them back out by clicking on these arrows. So the Application Navigator allows you to see the different applications within ServiceNow based off your role, and each application has different modules within it. And so these are specific places you go to do your work. You can quickly jump to a specific application or module by typing in this search box up here. This right here will pull up everything with project in it, and if I'm doing this because I want to create a new project, I can click there and generate a new form. So that's very handy. Also, you'll notice that the applications collapse and expand, and you can make selections here at the top. In addition, you can also select automatically add favorites. This is a neat feature which allows you to select something as a favorite just by selecting it. So as you click on a new application module, that will automatically make that starred. This is very similar to ChangePoint. And so when we would like to see just our favorites, we can scroll up to the corner, top left corner of the Application Navigator, click on that star, and we can see everything that we've clicked on. If you don't like this feature, you can also toggle this to take it off. The next area of the screen is the content frame. This is the main area where forms, lists, and other screens display. You can make this area larger by minimizing the banner frame and the Application Navigator, as you saw a little bit earlier. These are able to be toggled. This way you can maximize your screen to fit the most content on there. So lastly, there is the Edge Navigator menu. And this is a very handy tool. It allows you to create bookmarks in places that you can jump to quickly and easily. You can take and select a module from the list over here in the Application Navigator and simply drop it on the Edge menu here, and it will be there for you to click on and go to. You can also edit those. You can delete them. You can, in this case, I've taken and created a list that views all projects. I simply grab this by going over to the project application and pulling over all projects. This, however, has been changed. You can change the icon and the color of the icon. You can also change the title. All these things allow you to personalize the menu and make it easier for you to jump around to places you need to go. Here we are on the project form. You can see the fields with asterisks next to them. Those are actually required fields. We also have the form banner, which we can right-click on, and we get additional options. You can save, which is also available here on the menu, but you can also export this via PDF. This is a great functionality that's available in most screens in ServiceNow. Other options include detailed PDFs or other export options. We could assign a tag to this project so that we could quickly organize it through tags and use tag documents over here on the Edge tool. If you'd like to send somebody a link to your project once it's been saved, you can go ahead and click on copy URL and then Control-C in the following box, and it'll allow you to have a link that goes directly to that project form if you'd like to share it with anybody. Within ServiceNow, there's often two buttons that save. In addition to simply just the Save button, a Submit or an Update button saves with an action. It'll save and complete the form and go back to the list from which that form belongs. So you may see that in terms of Submit or Update. Save will keep you on the form. With the project, you can start the project here if it is in a pending state as well. The first field on the project form is the project name. We do not have a naming convention for projects in ServiceNow as we did with projects in ChangePoint. However, during this period in which we are transitioning from ChangePoint to ServiceNow, it is expected that users will have to transition their projects from ChangePoint to ServiceNow, and when entering that information, it's important that we capture the exact name of the project from ChangePoint in this field so that we can merge data on the reporting dashboard. There's also a project number. This is generated automatically and it makes your project distinct. In lists, project numbers are clickable. They'll take you back to your project. We also have a schedule, and this is an area that will likely develop over the use of this tool. However, the schedule is basically the guide for when your work will be complete and how calculations for the amount of time on the project will be handled. This particular schedule is a 5 days a week, 8 hours a day schedule that excludes holidays. Next, we have the planned start date. This you can enter in a value here. However, it's best to click on the calendar and select a date and specify a time if you need to. The next two fields are the planned end date and the planned duration. These two fields work together along with the planned start date. I don't have to enter a value in here. In fact, I'm not able to. And that is because if I enter in an estimated or a planned duration, 45 days, let's say, as soon as I leave that field, it updates the planned end date with calculations of 45 days using the 8x5 holiday schedule. Once we actually start the project, we get a date in the actual start date. Upon completing the project or closing the project, you'll get an actual end date. The next field is the status field. This field mirrors the field that we currently have on our project status reports in Google Docs. It allows the project manager to choose a color, green, yellow, or red, to give a simple indication of how they think the project is going. Next we have project phases. This follows the PMI PMBOK standards and includes initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. We do have a project state field to indicate what the project is doing. Project states include pending, work in progress, closed complete, and on hold. On hold will take the project and pause the project as well as lock out time entry against project tasks. To take a project out of hold, simply go to the state and take it from on hold, change it back to work in progress. The next field is the company field. From change point, this is actually the client agency. However, in ServiceNow, company as a field is used in several different areas, and so we had to make a change with what that's referred to. The next field maps very closely to change point in the way that it is put together. That is the project type. You can see we have the same selections that we had available in change point. If you select a maintenance project, this will have an impact on whether or not your project can be included into the IT plan. And I'll discuss that later in this video. We can also select whether a project is billable or not by simply checking this box. Once we do, we'll see a field for an LCID, which pulls from an FiNet LCID table within the system. The next field is the configuration item. And this field, we capture the application or equipment on which we're doing work. This will develop more down the road, and as you can see, at this point it's not actually a required field. The next three fields are for key project contacts. This includes the project sponsor, the project manager, and the team lead. These fields work as type ahead fields. You can simply enter in information and you can simply fill out the information and you will get a selection to choose from. Scrolling over this icon will give you information about the record that is entered into the field. You can also click on this icon if you'd like to visit that record. In this case, we'd be visiting the user profile for me. The next section of the project form is the project costing section. This contains both estimated and actual values for the project. The estimated DTS labor cost is derived from estimated costs on the tasks for each project. Those are rolled up from the task and totaled in this field. I'll cover that more in depth in later videos about project task. The estimated non-labor cost can be simply entered into this open field and saved along with the project. These two values are added together to create the estimated total project cost. Actual DTS labor costs are derived from time entered against tasks on the project. Once the time entered on those tasks by resources are approved, the time and the rate calculate out to provide a cost for the actual DTS labor costs. Actual non-labor costs are derived from a tab that is currently under construction. It will be located down here, and that will capture purchase orders against a project. Similarly to estimated costs, these two fields are added together to create the actual total project cost. In this case, when we talk about the actual total project cost, we're talking about this from a DTS perspective and not total cost of ownership. The next two fields are the description field and project notes. The description field allows you to describe the project work and what the expected outcome is. It's important to note that this field is carried to the IT plan and is not simply just visible within ServiceNow. The project notes field is a location for project managers to write a concise statement about the project in relation to any overages that the project is experiencing. This field is captured and transferred to the Cognos dashboard and helps as a communication point between project managers and upper management. The next portion of the project form is the tab entitled PSR. This is where we locate fields for the project status report. A number of fields are captured throughout the project form. However, there are 3 areas here where you can capture distinct status information. They include last week's accomplishments, this week's plan, and issues and mitigation. Both of the text boxes allow formatting to write quick and concise notes for your project status report. These include features such as bold, italics, and underline, as well as changing your font and size or changing font color to highlight specific information. The Issues and Mitigation section allows you to describe issues. In the left-hand section, you can double-click in the area that gets highlighted here, and you can see that a note box pops up. I can enter some text here about an issue. And then I could add notes about the mitigation for that. The next section of the project form is the IT plan. This is taking the place of the change point candidate. Here we can capture some very preliminary information and answer questions that are part of legislative reporting. The estimated budget is really distinct from other costing areas in that it's a very early snapshot of what the project budget is expected to be. If we know about non-labor purchases that might be included in the project, this is a great time to capture them. And just as in other areas of costing, estimated labor and non-labor costs are added together to create a total project cost. Questions within the IT plan are pretty straightforward. We've done a lot to simplify these. It's worth noting, however, that some questions do have follow-up questions based off the answers. Once you've completed all of the questions, you can select Include an IT Plan, and that will ensure that this information is pulled to the IT plan created in Cognos. Once you've done that, you can lock the IT plan details so that nobody can accidentally edit any of the details about your project. Another section here in the tab area is the total cost of ownership. This tab simply takes the fixed labor cost that might be associated with the project and allows the project manager to capture that here, then adds that to estimated total project costs or actual total project costs to give us a better idea of the costs associated with the project. That completes the first training for the project form. Our next training will pick up with project tasks and discuss how they play a role inside of a project. Thank you.